Welcome to Live, life-inspired views for every day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. I watched a fascinating segment on CBS Sunday Morning last week about David Johnson, who said he was 11 years old when an eastern screech owl landed on the edge of his tent. He was just captivated with owls from that day on. Now the director of the Global Owl Project, he said, "I didn't choose owls. They chose me." I will never forget what he said next. He said, "There are two important days in our lives, the day we are born and the day we find out why." Isn't that something to ponder? Reminds me of a story that I've often told about an experience I had attending the funeral of a mother of one of my classmates from Waldorf University. A bunch of us ladies were sitting around at the lunch after the funeral talking about being in our 50s. I was saying, "Oh, I love my 50s. I have these little woman friends. We get together, drink a little red wine, talk about life, entrepreneurship, leadership. I love my 50s. And the woman sitting next to me said, "I'm going to turn 50 in 6 months, and I dread it." I asked, "Why?" She replied, "Because I haven't become any of the things I thought I would be at this age." I felt bad that she hadn't found her why. My dad always told me that life myths are the stories of our lives that explain why we came to be what or who we are. For example, one of my myths is that what I call my lightning bolt moment, the only one that I can remember happening. I was the tag teacher in the elementary school when our school counselor resigned to take another position. The next day I was walking across the school lobby and ran into the assistant principal, Dave Cunningham, who had been the counselor before. I asked him if he was going to apply for the job. He looked at me and replied, "No, I thought you would." Oh, it was an electric moment, and I suddenly knew that I needed to become a counselor. It became my why, as owls had become for David Johnson. If any of you are a fan of Harry Potter, you probably remember when Dumbledore said, "It matters not what one is born, but what they grow to be." When I think back to the woman who hadn't become any of the things she thought she'd be, it made me wonder what holds some people back from discovering that why, that possibility. Here's a poem that explains it a little bit. A man once found an eagle's egg and placed it in the nest of a barnyard hen. The eagle hatched and grew up with a brood of chicks. Although he didn't look at all the same, he scratched the ground for bugs and worms and played the chicken game. He made only chicken sounds, flapped his wings, and flew some 2 feet off the ground. "Why, that's as high as chickens fly," the eagle had been told. But one day, when he was old, he saw something flying high, making wide, majestic circles in the sky. He'd never seen the power, the wonder, the majesty that he saw. "Why, that's an eagle," someone said. "He belongs up there, it's clear, just as we chickens belong earthbound down here." The eagle accepted that fact. Most everybody does. And he lived and he died as a chicken, for that's what he thought he was. Are you an eagle living as a chicken? As I may have mentioned before, one of my favorite books is The 3 Questions by John Muth, and based on a story by Leo Tolstoy. In this story, there's a boy who asks these 3 questions of his 3 animal friends. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? They all gave him an answer which did not satisfy him. So he goes up the mountain to seek the wise counsel from his friend Leo, the tortoise. The story takes you through events that ensue in which the boy acts to help save someone. Well, the next day, when his animal friends come to find him, he turns to the tortoise and says, "But you did not answer my questions." The tortoise reminds him how they were indeed answered through the events of the day before. The story ends with this beautiful summary by this tortoise. He said, "Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one we are with, and the most important thing is to do good for those who are standing by our side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here. I love that story. Happenstance is that beautiful thing that happens and takes us in a different direction, maybe one that we never anticipated. I think that's sometimes how our why discovers us. If you are reflecting and thinking, why don't I know my why? I believe whenever we are helping someone or devoted to tending to the needs of others, we are doing our why. We may have been doing it all along. This week on your bathroom mirror, write, I know my why. I know why I'm here. And then watch all the affirmations you receive. Join me next Monday for Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.